Thanks for tuning in again, everybody. We're back with your favorite podcast, Luka's Tigers and Bronze. Oh my.
Luka Nation, I'm really excited for today's guest. You guys know I'm excited for every guest, but this is someone I've wanted to have on ever since I clicked that follow button on Twitter. And what I love about Steph, and you guys, I'll give you all her information of where to follow her because it's a must. She leads with value, so she got into Top Shot super early in October. And all of her content, could have been, hey, look at this moment. I got that serial number 2 out of 2,000. But instead, she decides, you know what, I'm going to help others because it's a scary space to jump into, and I want to help her. So, guys, please pause this recording, go to Instagram and type in @Steph Sutto.
Not Instagram, Twitter.
Twitter, I apologize. And you'll never look back. She has a ton of good information, and I'm excited to have her on today to talk about Top Shot. And here's why. We've had a Top Shot episode on Friday, but over the weekend, it's exploded. NBA players like JJ Redick and Josh Hart are talking about it. And truthfully, Steph knows as much about Top Shot as anyone in the game. So Steph, without further ado, I want to welcome you to the Luka's, Tigers, and Bronzo My Show.
Yo, thank you so much for having me. I'm honored to be here. Thank you.
What piqued your interest? What got you into Top Shot in October?
Honestly, Dapper Labs, the creator of Top Shot, they had created, crypto kitties, and that was a big thing in the NFT space, and it still is a big thing. And I first found out about that a couple of years ago, and so I was very curious about that because that's when I started learning about crypto. And so I was like, this is interesting, like virtual kitties, and you can breed them. And it was just an interesting concept to me. So I remember I bought a few. I didn't get super into it. Unfortunately, they would have been worth so much now, but I didn't get super into it. But I bought a few kitties just in case. And then I kind of forgot about it. And then, a couple of years later, I was like, I wonder what happened to my crypto kitties. And I tried to search for the website. It was kind of hard to find. And I found the Dapper website. And then it was talking about, we're coming out with NBA Top Shot, put your email here. We're going to be opening up the beta very soon. We're in a closed beta right now. And I was like, ooh, this sounds interesting. So because at the time I was super, and I still am super into personal development. I was listening to Gary Vee a lot, and he was pushing sports cards. And I was like, okay, if Gary Vee is pushing physical sports cards, this seems like next level. So I was like, I definitely have to put my email in. So I did. And then next thing you know, I think a couple days later, October rolls around, they open up the beta, and I was like, let's roll. And I started buying some moments.
I love it. And what's cool about, I wasn't in CryptoKitty, but everything needs its own time, right? So it felt like CryptoKitties was just a little bit too soon. It was early in the game because they came out in 2017. I think what makes NBA Top Shot so unique is you see Bitcoin crossing 50,000, right? And it's all the hype. Elon putting 1.5 million into it, a billion into it, I apologize. Sports cars are reaching all-time highs. And it's just kind of this culmination, this crossover of different emerging markets that I think has shed a light. And that's why NBA Top Shot has been, I don't want to say successful, but exciting in 2021.
I gotta ask Stephanie a question. I got it because it is. I'm probably not our target audience, right? And definitely, we continue to talk about Top Shot. I'm definitely not. But there are people who are in cards. There are people who are in tangible cards, in physical cards. And just like you said, hey, I listen to Gary Vee. He's talking about sports cards. This is gonna be the next best thing. So talk to me when you hear Crypto Kitties comes out, right? And you say, all right, Crypto Kitties, right? I'm gonna buy a couple of these. Can you walk through? This is going to sound ridiculous because when someone my age asks somebody your age why, yeah, I'm in for a lesson, right? But so what is it that makes having a crypto kitty or a crypto punk or a Top Shot moment? What is it that draws you to it and says, you know what, I want to buy a couple of these. I don't know what it's going to be worth or if it's going to be worth anything. What is it? Because and I'll just layer it. To me, all right, I can see the value of having a real cat. It's a cat. It's here. A crypto kitty? I don't know. I don't know. Do I need a punk sitting over here? I mean, I live near Brooklyn. There's punks all over the place. A lot of hipsters too. But but a crypto version of them. I mean, but I said this a couple times already in the last few episodes. I mean, this stuff has legs because there are smart people. There are people with a lot of money who I've seen over the last couple of weeks change their Twitter avatars to some weird looking dot matrixy, guy with a monocle, or hey, that's a cool hat with clown eyes, and they're spending loads of money on these crypto punks and now moments. So talk to me about just the mindset of it. What makes you want to go out there and buy this NFT, this crypto kitty or this moment, if you can?
Yeah. Well, I think initially I didn't necessarily have all the knowledge. I'll be honest. The reason why initially I bought the crypto kitties was because I was learning about crypto. I was learning about blockchain technology, and I was like, okay, this is like the internet 2.0. This is like really like showing if I own this specific kitty, every evidence shows that I own it, and you can't really copy it or fake it. And I just thought that was super interesting. And I was like, look, sometimes you only have to be right once. Maybe I'm wrong. I'll put $50 in. I don't know, and I'll take a risk because I'm already kind of in a low point. I might as well. Like I can't go any lower than this. So
by the way, I love the answer. I love that answer, Stephanie, because even though we probably couldn't be any more opposite, just on our face, right? Although I'm thinking about changing my hairstyle right now.
Wait,
I mean, it's done. Like that's done. I love it. That I make a crypto punk out of that. I'm buying it, right? So, but here's the fun, right? So, I decided to buy into Top Shot because my co-host Andrew and I got into a conversation about Bitcoin, and I felt like I did not understand it at all. Crypto, I didn't understand it. I didn't understand the blockchain. I understood none of it. And I said, you know what? When I started on Top Shot, I don't want to say it clicked. I'm definitely not teaching a master's course about it, but just like you said with these crypto kitties, I started to understand it a little bit more, and I started to think to myself of the way that universe can be utilized. I actually just bought a card. I don't know if I'm even supposed to be doing this, but I bought a card from one of my friends. And normally I'd say, hey, let's PayPal it or whatever it is. And then, but who knows, it's going to get returned, blah, blah, blah. You know what I did? I said, I'm going to buy this Anthony Davis from you, but I'm also going to have you sell me an Anthony Davis moment with it. And I'm going to pay you for the whole thing using blockchain, on the Flow blockchain. And now it's no backseas. It's all. So I'm thinking to myself, can this be like it completely kill PayPal? And then that's exactly what Andrew was telling me. Like, I now get it. Like we went rounds back and forth, and I'm like, I don't get it. I don't know how to take the 12 o'clock blinking off my VCR. I have no idea. And you got to be like 35 to understand what that is. You guys don't even know what a VCR is.
I know what you mean.
but so I love your answer because it's spot on, right? And if I could tell anyone out there listening who's like me, who's beating their head against the wall, it's a fun way of learning. I think that's where you are with this, Stephanie. I apologize. Go ahead, Andrew.
I'm curious before we dig into Top Shot, because I want to ask you some questions. You have very low serial numbered moments, and Cage and I still don't totally understand low serial numbers and kind of the parallels. But before, I love the story behind the story. So I'm curious, who is Stephanie Sutto? And I hope I'm pronouncing that name right.
Sutto. Yeah, Stephanie Sutto.
Sutto. I apologize. I'm very sorry. But how did you get here? What's your backstory?
Yeah, that's a great question. Like for me, I've always been kind of, by the way, I'm a twin. So if you should definitely get Jen on because she started Top Shot one day after me. And she started YouTube videos about it.
Humble brag, no big deal.
Yeah. And so I'm kind of more, I feel like I'm more a little bit of a rebel. And so, I went to college, but I didn't really want to because I kind of wanted to I didn't think that I was learning what I really needed to for life. And so I dropped out of college 1 year before graduation. And I started spending my money instead of on, courses at the university. I was spending it on online courses. And a lot of people say, oh, this is controversial, but I bought a lot of Tai Lopez courses. I really did. And he taught me social media and the power of social media. And I learned a lot about personal development. And that's also where I learned about crypto from Tai. So I actually attribute a lot of stuff that I learned from him. And I just got really in depth into all this stuff. And I didn't have much money at the time. I was just working odd jobs here and there. But the little money that I did have, I would kind of invest a little bit into crypto and then kind of learn more about it. So when I learned about this NFT thing, I was serving a restaurant still, and I was like, okay, like I think this is my way out. Like I think that this is the future, and maybe not immediately, but I think, in the long run, like if I'm early to something this big, kind of like Gary Vee calls blockchain technology the internet 2.0. And I'm like, okay, because if I was early to the internet in 1995, that's when I was born, then I would have been, great. But I'm not. I'm too young for that. So this is my opportunity. So I just saw an opportunity in the whole entire space, and Top Shot is just one thing in it. There's obviously a bunch of NFTs like, Crypto Punks, for example, but that's way above my price point. And I love NBA Top Shot because anyone can get into it at you can buy a $2 moment, right? So I love that. And you
not anymore. Not anymore.
Eventually, because they'll make
soon enough.
So that, but you don't have to understand crypto or NFTs to know and understand what NBA Top Shot is, which is why I love it so much.
Love the answer. I mean, it's great. So I have a follow-up question for you, if I can. And it's so funny too, because every time we sit down, we have another guest on who talks about Top Shot, someone who works there or someone who's done it, or you name it. I feel more confident in the investment in it and in the platform in and of itself. So I love having people like you on. The thing that people will message me on my personal account the most about, I don't know if they're afraid to do it on the group one, is, should I be getting out? Is it going to be a mass exodus? Is there going to be everybody running to the door at the same time? What's going to happen here? And I tell them, just listen to our episodes, listen to you, right? You are someone who got into this while you were a server, which, by the way, you make good tips, you can do well, I'm not judging, but you have a decent sized account now, and you are not running for the door just yet, because like you said, you're not into this to make $20 or $50, whatever it is. This is your shot. This is as Gary Vee is saying, your shot to get in on the internet early, right? So go through that with me if you can a little bit, because honestly, if you walk through, hey, I'm not running out there, people will hear that. And I think it kind of quells the panic a little bit. You know what I mean? And the more people we have out there saying, hey, I'm in it from the beginning and I'm not going anywhere, Wolf of Wall Street style, right? Then, I mean, I think it's helpful for people to hear that, because you've made money on this, but you're not exiting. And we've had people on here who, I'm telling you, we had one guy on here whose Dapper portfolio, you do that market evaluate, is 7 figures, and he hasn't sold a single moment. So It's great to hear that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that is first of all, I love that question, because also new users don't always understand that every single thing is a market cycle. Like NBA Top Shot is a market cycle. Of course, long term, it's going to go up long term, right? But within that, there are short-term pumps and dips. There are. And what scares me about a lot of new users, and I've seen this behavior so much, in fact, you can see some of my buys and you can see evidence of this, is that when there's a dip, people start freaking out. And it's really only like what I like to call the weak hands. They start freaking out and they sell for less than they bought, and they lose money. And I'm the one scooping up the deals, and I feel bad because I'm buying their moment for half of what they bought it for. And I'm like, do not buy high and sell low. If you bought high in that cycle, wait until the next pump. Like, you know what I mean? Like, just be patient. But it does suck, because you're absolutely right. People are thinking, what if everyone leaves? No, during dips, the whales and the OGs are buying your moments. But the majority of users that are freaking out, they look like the masses. Yeah, it does seem like everyone is leaving at that point, because that's the majority of, new users. That's the majority of weak hands. They will freak out and panic during dips. As you saw that happen about 2 weeks ago. We were at the bottom of a dip, and it was like, yeah, it was getting brutal and it was getting sad. I bought someone's entire portfolio for half the price. Like, it was rough, and that will happen again. Yes, it will, but short-term cycles, just wait.
How do you go about buying someone's portfolio?
Well, now they changed the rules. So you're not really allowed to be buying outside of the marketplace. So I can't really speak on that anymore. But in the past, you could have, bought people's portfolio outside because of the gifting feature. You use like a referee to kind of facilitate to the trade. But it's very dangerous now, and because they don't support that. They used to have refs, but now they don't support that. So I wouldn't do that anymore. But in the past, you could, and it was a safer bet. But not anymore, because people got screwed over. So
Those weak hands you're describing, that's me when I own Dogecoin. And the reason I sell is because I have no idea what it is.
Yeah.
When you know, right, when you know an investment, you know when to hold, when to sell. When you don't, you usually have weak hands. So I think weak hands is a derivative or a byproduct of a lack of education. Where do people go with something so new to learn, how to make money on Top Shot, which moments to buy, which to avoid? Where do they go? The resources are so new and so young.
Yeah, right now it's such a new market. I mean, we are still in beta. So it's like, leaders in the industry are just starting to emerge. So and content creators like me just starting to emerge. I'm going to be creating a Twitch channel and go live. I want to go live a lot just to help new users, but you don't see too much content out there right now. So right now, I think as a new user, it's best if you're just watching the market and understanding buying and selling behavior. Also being in the Discord, understand understand people's perspectives and see how that affects the market, because human psychology does strongly affect the market. Usually when people are freaking out in the Discord, you can see prices going down in the market. When people are like, to the moon, you can see prices pumping. So and to me, I kind of like to do the opposite of the masses. So I've sold a lot during this pump. I've sold a lot and I've reinvested, but I haven't, I'm not buying stuff that I would normally buy in a dip. I'm not buying lowest, I'm not buying floor prices. I'm buying good cereals during this pump, because that kind of saves me, because when there's a dip, I will then buy the floor price, but I don't buy floor prices usually during a pump. That's just my personal strategy.
I love it. And that's a great transition. So Luka Nation, if you're listening and you're on Top Shot, you go to your account, you'll see it says nbatopshot.com/user/@ and it's your handle. What's cool about blockchain is you could go and search anyone's name. So here, if you search at Steph, STEPH, you actually get to see what this person's holding. So I'm curious, what is the appeal of low serial numbers, and how should someone on the other end understand low serial numbers and how to also price them compared to the floor?
Yeah, so it can be a little bit difficult to, I don't have a math formula. I'll be real, like I probably should, but I don't. So as far as low serials, I don't focus on low serials that are like 4-digit, 3-digit. When I say low serial, I mean 1 to 2 digit. That's what I'm talking about. And specifically 1 digit. And here's the, even if the moment is gonna have 300,000 or something crazy, and it's like, well, what does it matter? Well, because think about it, there's only gonna ever be 9 single digits. So do you know how small of a percentage that is? And specifically right now, I'm buying single digits on rookies because they're gonna some of them are gonna be getting the rookie badge. And so that's gonna be a lot of perceived value for people. And so for me, that's gonna be a lot of the single digits that I'm buying are gonna be some pretty big flips in 1 or 2 months.
I mean, you're Sam Merrill. You basically own all 9
I
of
know.
these single
I know.
digits.
I know. There's like three single digits that I don't own besides number one. The number one's 20K. I'm probably not going to buy that one, but I do want to own the floor. I do want to own the all of those single digits, because then I can control the price. Like that's another
Sure.
thing that's like pretty big. If you can control the price, you know.
So something you said, and I'm curious, there's no way in my mind that you don't have some kind of business background or experience, because you really have a good grasp on economics. And where do you think that comes from?
Well, like it's kind of just like supply and demand, really. But my sister and I used to have a glitter business, and we ran it on social media. So like we just learned really quickly like supply and demand, and then after the business, we kind of like ended that after like 2 years of it. I just got into studying like crypto and kind of watching a lot of I never really had a lot of like capital to invest in crypto. However, I had time, and so I've watched a lot of technical analysis. And so from learning about technical analysis, I've learned about supply and demand, market cycles. And I always am learning about human psychology just because I love that. And I think that plays a lot into market cycles.
Cage, you and I always are having conversations, which moments to buy, which to sell. Is it time, to take some profit off the table? Cage, I'm curious, are there any questions, you have about your portfolio, especially in this recent boom that you'd want to ask Steph and kind of maybe even give a take on what you're seeing?
Well, I want to know, because you're looking at her stuff. Did you buy any single number Devin Vassell rookie cards, the ones out of 4,000? Because I want to know if you're looking at just, you have number 7. Because
not yet. I don't think I've bought any of those yet.
I have to tell you, I could care less about the serial numbers. And that's part of a problem, right? Because I've already seen, I've sold almost all my low serial numbers. I have. And when I was probably a couple days into Series 2, Release 1, and I bought a bunch of packs in that Release 1. There were a lot of low serial numbers. And I got Devin Vassell rookie, number 7, single digit number 7. And the card was going for like, I don't know, $25, $30. The moment was going for like $25, $30 on the floor. Yeah. So I listed number 7 for $107. $107.
Oh, damn, I would have bought that from you, bro. Yeah.
And it sold in like 13 seconds. And I was like, wow, I guess I don't know what the hell I'm doing. You know what I mean?
Man,
so,
dude.
Yeah. So somebody pulled that. It was a single digit for one. But at the time, I was like, I could go buy 5 of these now.
Yeah, you still made profit.
Yeah. Well, I obviously I could have made more. So, jersey number, I get it. I guess single digits, I kind of get it. The single digits, sure. But I mean, like, for example, I always give this example. And you know what? The person who bought it has made profit on it anyway. But a couple weeks ago, the LaMelo floor was $800. LaMelo Ball floor was $800. And I had number 183. Mm-hmm. So that's not particularly low. It's not single digits. It's low out of 4,000, I guess. It's, in the top 4 or 5% of them. I mean, if you want to do it that way. And I listed it for like $24.99, like literally 3 times what the floor was. And it sold in like 10 seconds. And I just didn't get that. I didn't understand that. Now, the person who bought it, the floor is 3,000 on any serial number now. So they did fine, but and I'm sure the 183, if I looked, is probably $10,000 now. So I'm sure they did fine. But I guess I don't follow it. And maybe this is part of the new, like, the serial number is the blockchain. The serial number matters on these NFTs. Is that why? Or are you just saying, all right, I guess for someone like me, right, in cards, the way to differentiate and create a false scarcity is by grading the cards, because not every card's the same. You have a PSA 10. So are people thinking, all right, the PSA 10 moment, the best moment is going to be those single digits or the low number ones? Is that the thought process?
Yes. Because of that, because they don't have grading, what they do have is serial numbers. Like, that is the thing. And the thing is that it's okay if you don't value serial numbers, but just understand that other people do. And that's the thing, is that maybe you just want the moment and you don't care what serial it is. That's fine. But other people do care. And so take that into consideration when you price things. And personally, I would never price it just as a new user. If you don't know how to price things, don't ever price a single digit for under $1,000. That's all I have to say. So if you know what I mean, like, at the lowest, price it 1,000. You know what I mean? But I would never price it under 1,000 personally.
It's amazing. So it's funny because as we're talking, getting into cards, before grading, the card industry, was resistant and hesitant to grading because the people who had all the top cards didn't want grading. They would say things like, I know what my card grade is. I don't need a third party to tell me. And then obviously grading just changed the whole hobby. And the saying used to be, buy the card, not the holder. Like, I could tell you it's a 6. I don't care that PSA said it's a 5 or a 7. Maybe in Top Shot, it's buy the serial, not the moment.
Yeah.
I don't know. Buy the cereal, not the floor. I don't know. There's got to be something, right?
Here's the thing about the cereal is you have to understand that a lot of new users, they're kind of thinking like you. They're like, whatever, it's a cereal. Like, okay, I'll charge a premium. I'll make some money, Eventually, the only people holding those single digit cereals are going to be the big whales, and they're not budging on their price. It's going to be extremely hard to get low digit cereals. Very, very hard, because eventually all the weak hands will shake, shake, shake until you have the top people controlling all the single digit cereals. Like, you see that with S1s, it's very hard to get single digits. And so that's why it's like, while it's fresh, I'm trying to go for those because I know that in the future, it's not going to be easy to get those. You're going to have to pay really high premiums.
All right, so I'll put you on the hot seat for one question, then I'll let Andrew take over with like 4 or 5 of them. Series 1 set, 287 moments.
Yeah.
End of this year, what do you think that's worth? I don't even know. What do you think it's worth now? I have no idea. It used to be
someone just tweeted about what it was worth. I actually don't know the numbers on that, so I really couldn't throw a figure.
I think it's probably worth like $250,000 right now, the Series 1 base set. I mean, it's pretty crazy.
Tweeted. I forget who tweeted. Someone did. I don't want to waste my time trying to find the tweet, but it's going to be worth a lot. And eventually, especially because they've never done a Series 1 base set challenge, they never closed off the idea. So if they do that, imagine.
What's your favorite moment that you own? I know my favorite from your collection. I'll go after you go.
You know your favorite from my collection?
Yeah, from your collection. I've been looking at your page.
Well, my favorite moment's not necessarily my most valuable moment. It's just the one that's most sentimental to me and that has a story behind it. So I would honestly say when I first, when I was kind of about to take a break, I was like, okay, it's November. Nothing's really been happening. Like things aren't super lucrative. It's not easy to make money. Like I'm going to take a break all of December. So in kind of mid-November, I was just buying a few last things. And I only have 2 sets completed total of all time. That's my 2020 NBA Finals rare set from Series 1 and my Western Conference Finals set from Series 1. I had one more puzzle piece to put together for that Western Conference, and I think it was the LeBron James. And at the time, the low price was $65, I believe. You can double check if I'm wrong, but I thought that was a lot of money. And I was like, oh, $65 for this LeBron. Like, I don't know, like, should I do it? And I was like, you know what? Screw it. This is the last piece I need. I'm going to pull the trigger. And I bought that LeBron for 65. Floor now is I think $8K. But that was awesome to me because like I was really teeter-tottering on whether I should pull the trigger on that. And so that's my favorite moment.
I'm glad you did. Mine is the Baisley, lace him up.
Number 2?
Serial number 2, yeah. And the reason why I like that moment's sick. That dunk is pretty cool. So, and we'll talk about that because I do want to ask you how important that part is. But we started our podcast with Cage and right when the NBA bubble started. And we had an episode called Bubble Baisley. So like that will always stick in my mind. I'm a big Baisley fan. Steph, before I get into that, are you into traditional sports cards at all?
When I was a kid, like I have like 3, I'm looking at 3 binders of sports cards. They're not worth much at all. And in fact, they're kind of annoying because I've been carrying them for years. I just want to sell them, but it's just so complicated and annoying to sell, which is why I love NBA Top Shot because you can sell in a matter of seconds.
Cage. Let's just that moment. If Jordan, our producer, if you're hearing that, that's the moment you clip because a lot of people say, why Top Shot? How is it different from a YouTube clip? What if I just, open my iPhone and do screen record? How is it different? And you hear that across the board and all these objections. But think about this. Think about how many people in the last 12 months have messaged you, what card should I buy? I want to get into sports cards. I want to buy Pikachu or I want to buy, and how difficult that is to recommend, which card to buy and then in which grade. I heard something that's really great. It's NBA Top Shot's so simple. A kid could use it. A toddler could use it. And that barrier to entry, I think, is a big deal for people. What do you think about that?
You asking me? I want to hear what Stephanie has to say. I know a toddler can't use it because we were told by Jacob on Friday that user agreement says you had to be 18 years old. So sorry, my son, you can't use it. But what do you think, Stephanie? Because I love what you're saying. You're 100% right. The ease of use is a huge thing, and it's so much easier than traditional cards.
Yeah, and I think especially the younger generation, Gen Z, I'm right at the cutoff. Like I'm a millennial technically, but like I'm pretty much in the middle. And to be honest, they don't necessarily know too much about, they don't have a whole childhood of sports cards. You know what I mean? Their whole world, they grew up in the digital age. And so, for them, this makes sense. Like, it's not hard for them to wrap their head around this concept. Like, they understand it. In fact, do you know how much people spend on video game like stuff, like skins and like all these things inside of video games, like little, weapons and like virtual tokens, all this virtual stuff that they're already buying that they don't even own it because it's not even on the blockchain. Like, you know what I mean? Once it's the next game, that becomes worthless. But for this, no, like the new series, the old series becomes even more valuable. So I think I can see a lot of younger people starting to get into this. In fact, we already have a lot of younger people. Maybe their parents got them into this. That they're helping their parents, with their account, and yeah, I definitely see a huge future in this. This is like sports cards, but for Gen Z.
Have you seen the LaMelo rookie moment?
Yeah, I have.
That to me is the dumbest moment I've ever seen in my entire life in the terms of what's actually happening in that moment. That's a Gordon Hayward moment, and the guest star is LaMelo. But Cage says it doesn't matter. That's his first assist, and that's what people want.
Yeah.
How important, and is there just a premium on top of like the price? Is what's happening in the moment? How do you rate that? How do you understand that?
I think right now, it's actually really underrated. I think most people have not even seen half of I don't think most people have even watched thoroughly all of their moments that they have, because people are sometimes just trading on price. And I haven't even watched every single moment that I have, to be honest. So yeah, but to be honest, I'm not I'm not like a huge NBA fan. So people always think that I am, but I'm actually not. But it's funny because yeah, I see opportunities in some moments where I'm like, yo, that was a Rajon Rondo moment, like my Western Conference Rajon Rondo. That was his moment, but LeBron dunked. He assisted to LeBron. Like, that's going to be more valuable than people realize, I think. But right now, I don't think people are paying attention to that. I don't see people paying attention too much, but I think that it will way more in the future. Yeah, I do.
Cage, you said that just the other day when we had Jacob on.
It's exactly correct. When you have LeBron in those moments, those ancillary moments, when he's in it, that's what people can, you kind of sneak a LeBron moment without a LeBron moment price.
Yeah.
So it's pretty smart. The LaMelo thing, though, Andrew, it's funny because I got 4 texts after our episode saying he's right. I never agree with Andrew. I always agree with you, but he's right. It's not an assist. It's a stupid moment. So you're getting a lot of love on that one. But I got to tell you, just like I say with traditional cards, right now Panini can take a dump in a box and people will buy it. There'll be demand for it. LaMelo's only got one moment on there. So it doesn't make a difference what that moment is. People are running to get the LaMelo stuff, which is crazy. Doesn't matter what the moment is.
Steph, what are, if there's one or two things, you wish people out there, new users of Top Shot knew that might have helped with their learning curve, There's a lot of people joining probably after this weekend. Josh Hart was on Twitch. I think they had 10,000 people viewing. You see JJ Redick, CJ McCollum tweeting about it. So there's going to be a lot of new users. If you could help them with, 1, 2, 3 pieces of advice, what would you share with them?
Honestly, I would say I know that when you first get in, it kind of seems like, oh my God, I'm running out of time. I need to start buying stuff now. But you got to be careful with that. I would say watch the market, like literally watch the market. Click on a moment, go to the history, watch the market, watch the buys, click on the serial number, see who bought it, look at their portfolio, look at everything. I would say, because a lot of people don't understand a lot of things because they don't click all the buttons. Click all the buttons is what I would say. If you go to a moment and you go to the edition size and then you click on, there's a little eye, you click on that, you can see every single person who owns every single serial, even if they're not selling it. And so sometimes that's really nice as well, to kind of understand, okay, if they are selling it, what kind of person is selling this? You know what I mean? I usually do that. And I'm like, when did they buy it? You can see the history of that. Did they get it from a pack? There's just so much to learn just by clicking around. And I would say before you buy anything, honestly, do a lot of clicking around. You're going to learn a lot more just by actually being in the dirt and looking at everything, than you are from just listening to someone's advice, because you don't know what their strategy is. You don't know what they're thinking.
A little clouds and dirt shout out there to Gary V.
I have the shoes actually too.
Nice.
So what's funny about that is, Gary V's into cards. Stephanie is not. But what, you use that mentality, the clouds and dirt. Pull back a couple layers of what you just said there. She doesn't know about the angst we have in the card hobby and the physical, tangible stuff. But think of what she was just saying, right? Think of all the information there is around the buy because of the blockchain, right? Because of how this is built on that Flow blockchain. If you want to see, wow, that PWCC auction, this thing just sold, that Kobe just sold for a lot more than they've sold for in the past. Well, you click on the auction and you know what you get? Private bidder. You don't even get to see the feedback. You don't know whether it got paid for. You don't know what, you have all these questions that lead to more questions, right? But what Stephanie's telling you, really shrewd, without even knowing that that's an issue in the tangible world of cards, that you can go in before you make your buy. You can click on that moment. You can check out the circulating count. You get the information. You see who has them for sale, what serial number they have for sale, how much they have for sale, and then who has them but don't have them for sale. See whether or not somebody's hoarding 20 of them. See whether they got them in a pack. See whether or not the same person who has 20 was buying them all at a floor of $5 less than where you're buying it now, and they're holding them or they're going to try to flip it. There's information out there, and no one's able to hide. There's no private bidder, guys. That's an important thing.
That's true. You can't hide anything on the blockchain. And that's another thing is that it's also fun to, when you look at the history of like a certain cereal, and sometimes you see fun things like, oh, wow, this person bought it for $5 on this date. And then one day later, they sold it for 10. Or you see like this person bought it for 25 on this date. And only 1 week later, they sold at a loss. Like, who is this person? You click on their profile. Oh, brand new user. Like, you know what I mean? Because you can see the date that they started too. You can not the exact day, but you see the month and the year. So you can very early on learn like what are mistakes that other people are making so that you can avoid them, and what are like whales and OGs doing, and you can click on their profile and see what they're doing too.
Is Cage a whale or an OG or both?
I'm not an OG because I got in January, so I definitely don't qualify as an OG.
You're a whale. But no,
and if I'm a whale, you're making fun of my size.
Pause this episode and try this out. Go to the moment. If you scroll a little bit down, there's a serial number and there's an I next to it, and then edition size and then an I. I didn't even know that before today's episode. And you're right. That is hugely important information that you can't get in traditional cards.
Yeah, 100%.
So before we let you go, without giving away any secrets, so give us like your third best one. And you don't even have to go on a moment, or a specific one. Anything you're looking at, anything people should be using to research, any tools that are out there. We like to provide, value, just like you're a value person also. I mean, I give specific picks, and anybody who listened to me before, yesterday and the day before's blow up, I was telling everybody, you can get in and buy a Kobe White moment for $3 right now, and you're never going to lose money on it. Go get it. There's 15,000 of them. I hope they're going to LE it and, make money, no problem. I said, go out there and you can buy 1,000 of them. And I personally bought 178 of them. Right. So, and they're like $24, $25, $26 as we're recording this episode. So I hope a lot of people listen to that. I don't need you to get that specific and that crazy, especially, the market's kind of gone a little haywire the last couple of days. But my first question for you, and then I'll layer in a second, is do you have any ideas, any suggestions, any research? And then what I'd love to close with you with, and just from me, and then Andrew, you can ask whatever else you have, is how can this last? I mean, people would like to know, people are out there and they're saying, can this last? And you've been in it since the beginning. You've seen the ups and downs even more than I have. You've seen the market swings. You know the quote unquote OGs and the whales who are in it. I'd love for you to kind of, tell our audience, one, where you're looking, where they can look and, what your ideas are. But then more importantly, go from that specific to the general, why you're a believer in the overall product and why you think it's not going anywhere tomorrow.
Sure. Yeah, I think there's great outside tools that are outside of NBA Top Shot. For example, evaluate.market. I actually use that quite a lot. It's really, really great. Not only can you check your account valuation, but you can look up a very specific moment and you can see, what percentage of that moment are maybe still in packs. What are we cutting out?
You're good. It catches up. Zoom is
okay, sorry.
Zoom come up a little bit, but I got the gist. You could start again now.
Sorry, I'll start over because you guys were frozen. Okay, so what I use is evaluate.market, and because you can check your account valuation, which is very nice. They just added something where it shows what you bought it for and what it's going for now. So that's actually really nice. And then you can look up specific moments and you can see what percentage are still in packs, how many people own it, out of how many there are. And then you can see the entire history of all time. And so that's really great. I definitely use that quite a bit. And then intangible.market is another great one as well. I think there's going to be a lot more tools coming out, so definitely just stay in the loop with that. But those are the two best ones right now that I'm personally using. But as far as, you were saying, well, what specific advice, if you can give a little something, understand this. Every time big drops happen, let's just say they're dropping a lot of packs. Like, let's just say, they're dropping 25,000 base packs or something like that. Understand that every single time, this always happens. People sell their moments. So there's a small little dip. So, because they sell because they want the new stuff. So do what you will with that information. There's a little dip, whether that's a buying opportunity for you, whether that's an opportunity to sell a little bit before that or whatever, but that always happens. And don't freak out, that always happens. And people always buy the new stuff, like, cause it's like, ooh, new, shiny. So just know that. And then you said, how do you know if Top Shot's not just gonna tank all of a sudden? Obviously there's always at least a 0.01% chance of anything happening. The whole world could explode, but taking that extreme out of it, I would say, because I did a lot of research and I believe in Dapper Labs. And so I believe in this project. I would say if you don't do research, then yeah, sometimes it can be hard because you're like, I don't get it. Like, what if this happens? What if every single person that has over $100,000 portfolio sells everything? Like, what if that happens? And you got to do research and you really have to understand the underlying technology behind it, because I think the technology is kind of what keeps people believing in it. And for me, the fact that it's on the blockchain technology is I think it's pretty awesome. And I'm definitely in it for the long haul, for sure.
I love it. I have just one or two more things, something I've noticed, and maybe one thing I'll start with you, Stephanie. It's got to be hard for you to evaluate your portfolio, right? Because if you go to evaluate that market, it always gives you the low price. Really, it's the base price. But you are, and I think this is what makes this whole project so special. There's a lot of ways to skin a cat, right? There's so many ways. There's people you could collect low serial numbers, people that just collect jersey numbers. There's people that just do base moments. There's people that do gold. There's the parallels, right? Like lace them up and all that stuff. How do you even evaluate your portfolios, or how do you go about doing that?
Well, yeah, it doesn't for example, evaluate.market at this point in time, on February 21st, 2020. Yeah, it doesn't take into account that you have low serials. It just kind of takes into account a more general evaluation. But I do have a friend in this space, and I'm sure more people are as well. They're going to be creating some tools where they're going to be taking into account those serials. And so I think eventually we'll be able to get a much more accurate, as more tools come out, because obviously there are a lot of really smart people that are in the space that want to create these tools. So for now, I don't even get too tripped up on, my portfolio value, because it's like, it doesn't, it's not like it necessarily matters. Yeah, okay, but what am I going to do? Pump myself up about it? For what? I don't know, but and I don't get too attached to moments. I try not to get too attached to moments, because sometimes I have to flip, and sometimes I have to get out of certain positions even before it's at the quote unquote peak of the cycle, because I don't want to risk waiting for I'm not trying to be super, super greedy. If I know when I buy a moment that it's going to be a flip, I'm not going to get super greedy and try to wait for the perfect moment at the top, because I don't want to get burned. So for me, I'm a little more conservative with how I flip. But if I know something's long term, I will hold it. I'll hold it and I won't sell, even if it's a solid amount.
Steph, using your experience, tell me if I'm onto something here, right? So one of Stephanie's piece of advice is watch the marketplace, right? So the LeBron Series 1, for example, that moment, and you could apply this to any player, but we use LeBron because he's a benchmark, has been coming down a little bit the last few days. Simultaneously, the Series 2 is creeping up a little bit. Is that, a market correction, or is that a buying opportunity?
On which one?
on the Series 1s because they're coming down in price, even though they're more scarce, but all the attention is pointing to Series 2. So you see like the Series 2 at a 7,500 is almost $1,500 when that moment was $500 just, before the weekend. Whereas the Series 1, which is much more scarce, has creeped down in price. How do you reconcile that? I've just watched the marketplace as you suggested.
Yeah, because if you understand new user psychology, they love Series 2 because it's the shiny new thing. So yes, I do see a huge potential in a lot of S1s right now. Like I actually barely holding any S2s besides those. I actually I literally sold like 80% of my S2s. Like I really did, because for me, it's a selling opportunity. And yeah, S1s, like yesterday, I was buying the day before yesterday, I was buying a lot of S1s the day before yesterday, and I was selling a lot of S2s. Today and yesterday, I was buying a lot of the S2 rookie single digits. But yeah, I definitely see a huge potential in S1s because it's like literally it's so underrated right now. And I just think it's because it's slightly less of a price. So it's a little bit easier to justify for people, a little bit easier of an entry to get into. But S1 is the original series. It's always going to be the most valuable. So yeah, for sure. Of course, you just pointed it out, there's definitely, opportunities.
I have so many questions for you, and you're a wealth of knowledge. I promise we'll wrap very shortly. How do you decide how much you keep in your Dapper wallet versus how much you're invested?
Well, it kind of depends, what you're willing to. First of all, it depends on like what your strategy is, and for me, I don't. It depends if we're in a pump or a dip. But right now, I'm not keeping a ton in my Dapper balance because I'm selling a lot. So I'm like, I woke up this morning and I had 8K in my Dapper balance. Now I have 1K. So, I spent that pretty quick. And the reason being is because of what I'm buying. I'm buying single digits. And I know that for single digits, things are time sensitive. It's only a matter of time before all the single digits get bought up, specifically for the rookies I'm talking about.
Yep.
So that's why. But for example, I'm not buying floor prices right now because I'm actually going to wait for new stuff to drop and for the prices to dip a little bit to then get in at a lower price point. So yes, I'm still saving a little bit of money for that, but it kind of just depends on what your strategy is personally.
It's something I think of because you don't want to miss out on gains, right, by keeping money in the Dapper wallet. But it's also you don't always have the liquidity to sell something quickly when a really good opportunity arises, right? So it's kind of like that knowing I want to have money available when a really good moment comes up, but I also don't want to miss the gains.
That's why having stuff that you can sell at floor price, that's S2 is the most liquid. Floor price S2 is the most liquid. So yeah, if you want liquid stuff, that is. S1 is not as liquid. So it's great opportunity, but it's not as liquid. So you kind of have to balance it out a little bit. Yeah, you're right. Before a drop, yeah, you should. That's why everyone does. Right before a drop, they sell some stuff. But you got to do it a little bit before everyone else does so that, you can make a little bit more than everyone else.
You're good vibes, Steph. I hope we can get you back on, as this keeps playing out. Big love.
Have you been able to get any packs recently? Because, it used to be you get packs as much as you wanted. Now the last couple, I wasn't able to get any.
Yeah, not the last 2 packs. I wasn't able to get the last basic or the cool cat.
Yep. Yeah, well, listen, I tell people that's a good thing. Don't get mad and say, I'll throw my hands up, I'm done with this stuff. Say there are so many people who want to get in that the stuff you do have is all the more safe.
Yeah, and actually now, every pack that I get, I'm not opening, I'm saving. So,
So we have the Zoom somewhere, and we'll unveil it. It'll be our first viral YouTube video. But how many packs did I open, dude? I think I opened 20 Series 2 Release 1 packs.
Let's go.
And we saved it on a Zoom. I had 100 of them sealed, saved, plus 30-something Series 1 packs. And I just said, I'm opening these up because I'm going to have more fun, buying, selling, flipping, you name it, in the market than waiting for them to be able to sell. Plus, I'm not a huge, this crypto person. So I wasn't like, hey, give me some Ethereum. Where are you gonna send me? You gonna mail the Ethereum to me? I wouldn't even know what to do with it, right? I'm that stupid when it comes to this stuff, right? So, you're gonna send it in priority mail and in like a flat rate envelope. I don't know how to get Ethereum. So and people will keep going for me. ETH, we'll give you ETH.
Steph doesn't get your humor.
It's like,
we get
ETH?
Ethereum. You just send it to a wallet, Cage.
I don't have a wallet. I have a wallet. It's a it's a
You
Calvin Klein
will
wallet.
very soon. You will very soon, KG. I know you will.
I'm sure I will. But so I opened them up, and we had the 20 packs. I got 4 LaMelos, and we have that on video.
Nice.
4 LaMelos and 20 packs. So that was pretty nice.
Gordon Hayward's with LaMelo.
Gordon Hayward assists, exactly.
His title.
The Gordon Hayward moment, exactly. But yeah, I mean, listen, I don't have the willpower to keep stuff sealed. So good for you if you're able to do it, because it'll make some nice Twitch streams down the road for you.
Do you have any sealed at all?
Opened every single one of them. I can't keep sealed product. I can't. It's just not in me.
I know. That's why it's so rare. Most people can't.
It's also better financially to open it, right? Like you make more money than you would get.
Short term, it is. But if you think about this, I was talking to my friend about this the other day. If you think about this, right now, it's a base pack. Yeah, you're going to get some common moments. They're not super valuable, right? The EV on that could be a low of, $25, right? You paid $9 for it. Could be 25 at the low. But think about if Series 5 rolls around and all of a sudden, all those Series 2 moments out of 15,000, which seemed like so much right now, seems like so much, they're going to be out of 300,000 in the future. So 15,000 is going to be nothing. The EV on one of those base packs in the future, and the amount of people that will have opened their packs, like all the weak handshaking, will be so much. It'll be like, oh my God, like that pack is going to be worth so much. And personally, I'm planning on holding for a long time. If I only plan on holding for another month, yeah, it wouldn't be worth it. Of course, it'd be worth it to open it. But I'm planning on holding it for a couple of years, and I know more people that are doing that too. So it's going to be very interesting. It'll be a gamble at that point of you'll know what's still hidden inside packs, and it'll be a huge gamble. And so I think the gamblers are going to want to definitely take that risk and spend a solid amount of money to get those base packs.
And it's the only way to get those low serials if you're not willing to pay thousands of dollars online, because you'll know this LaMelo 4 is still available. Once LaMelo number 1 got off the market, I said, I'm opening my packs. Now I know I don't have a chance at it. To hell with it. So, but
something you said that Cage gets on me, and we'll wrap with this, is, it's obvious your future is super bright, Stephanie. Like, I know you mentioned you dropped out of college, but I think you're the prequel in the sense of personal development and taking. It's funny, we scoff at people for paying like $500 or $1,000 for an online course of someone who is actually doing social media, but we're like, go to college, take on $40K of debt, and learn from people who are are teaching you theories. I think you're the prequel. I'm a believer in Stephanie. Like, I would buy a Stephanie moment and hold. So I'm really excited. I'm really excited for you. I appreciate you taking the time on Sunday to hop on and share your knowledge with us.
Thank you so much. You guys are honestly awesome. This has been one of my more enjoyable interviews, and you guys are awesome. I would love to be on the show again for sure.
We'll absolutely have you. We love.
We'll have you back. We'll have you back when you land the LaMelo number 1.
Yeah, buddy.
Where can people find you? Because guys, this is no joke. Make sure to follow Steph. If you have any question on Top Shot, DM us, but Steph knows way more. And where can people find you?
Yeah, please. Right now, the only exclusive NBA Top Shot social media I have is Twitter. So please follow me on Twitter. It's just Steph Sutto, my name, Steph Sutto. And definitely I will come out with more social channels because I think we need more influencers in the space. But for now, that's my main social channel. So I always post updates on everything. I try to be the quickest. So definitely follow me on that if you want to be in the loop about things.
Thank you for spending some time with us on another episode of the Luka's, Tigers, and Bronze Oh My podcast. Do us a favor and like, subscribe. You know what? Don't just like and subscribe. Everybody does that. If you like us, tell your friends, tell your neighbors, tell your enemies, tell everybody. And we hope you got something from spending some time with us today, and we'll see you next time. Thank you.